In order to defeat the mysterious new villain known as the Chained, Clark Kent will need to uncover some dark secrets about his beloved city of Metropolis. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Superman issue number 7 and find out what happens next together, shall we? So then, as we join the issue, we actually check back on in with Perry White, who you'll remember is actually making a real go of trying to be elected the next mayor of Metropolis. As he puts it, there were two major things that inspired this move. One, his undying love of the city, something that was only greatly intensified by his close connection to Superman over the years. And also, get this, his near brush with death from not that long ago, which was only brought about because of the mental dissonance that came from knowing that Clark and Superman were the same person, only to have that information taken from him just like the rest of the world. It's at that moment, too, the political rally ends up coming under attack by the Chained. This guy seems to hate Lex Luthor and Metropolis with a burning passion, but here's where things get interesting. The second that Perry sees the Chained, he recognizes him instantly as Sammy Stryker, no doubt the son of the Stryker who founded the very famous Stryker's prison. This also deepens the connection and conspiracy involving Perry and young Luthor's first few years in Metropolis. Superman still might be trapped in the Chained's old prison, but luckily the rest of the assorted Superman family is there to defend the crowd. They fight valiantly against this new foe, but unfortunately his telekinetic powers seem to be so great he's able to actually keep up with all of these different super people. While that's going on, we see Superman under the city still trying to slip his bonds, which is easier said than done as Luthor built this place to turn a person's own powers against them to keep them in place. Mercy says the only way out is for them to collect Luthor and have him turn off the machine, but luckily Superman has more than one power at his disposal and as such decides to borrow one from the Flash's playbook, radiating his molecules at such a speed that he ends up being able to phase shift. And not a moment too soon either, as the fight is quickly going south for our heroes. The Change really gets inside poor Connor Kent's head when it's revealed that both men actually make use of the same sort of tactile telekinesis, which is basically just like regular telekinesis, but you have to touch something for it to work. The Chain says that Connor is greatly underestimating himself and that he could have so much potential. It's here that Superman rushes on in to make the save, but naturally Clark doesn't want to fight. He realizes full well that whatever happened to the Chain must have been terrible, and he once again tries to get him to calm down and see sense. Unfortunately for Supes, though, Sammy Stryker has an undying, burning hatred of Luthor, one that's only made worse when he sees that the House of El logo is also on top of the old LexCorp building, meaning that the two men must surely be in cahoots and that there's no way he could possibly trust him. To cover his escape, though, the Chain drops a couple buildings, meaning the super family must assemble once again to save the lives of all of those inside. Superboy actually does a really good job distinguishing himself during this crisis too by grabbing onto the base of one of the buildings and keeping it in place with his tactile telekinesis, which is again one of those powers that I just totally forget he has until they bring it up. The Chain doesn't make it very far before he ends up running into Dr. Graft and Mr. Farm, the architects of his escape. The mad scientists want to recruit the Chain to their side, saying that they hate Lex Luthor almost as much as he does. And hey, because this is a special extra-length issue, from there we transition on over to Luthor, who's still in his hospital bed. He wants nothing more than to get up and help Superman, even though the doctors say doing so could get him to bleed out. It's not the doctors that Lex has to worry about convincing, though. That's Lois Lane, who of course never trusted Luthor to begin with and hates how much he's inserted himself into her husband's life. And hey, why shouldn't she? She's a smart woman after all, Lois. She knows that Luthor can never really be good, not for long anyway, and it's only a matter of time before he sees fit to betray Superman. Still though, Luthor does try and advocate for himself, saying that him and Superman have had a complicated history dating all the way back to their time in Smallville when he had hair. Lex says that he did spend many a year hating Superman, but not for the reasons that Lois might think. He hated Superman because Superman always showed the fatal flaws inside Luthor himself, and maybe he wasn't nearly as smart or nearly as perfect as he always told himself he he was. Moreover than that, now that we know Luthor spent a couple years in Metropolis trying to be a hero himself, it actually recolors his long relationship with Superman. Luthor failed at being good, but Superman makes it look so easy. As Luthor so eloquently puts it, he used to believe that he who looks into the abyss will always have the abyss look back at him, but for Superman, that's not the case. Superman can change the abyss, and maybe he can change Lex Luthor. It's after that the comic ends up taking a crazy right turn that I did not see coming. Luthor gets another visitor to his hospital bed in the form of his mother, Letitia Luthor, who is apparently not dead at all, despite what everyone, including Lois and the reader, may have believed. In fact, Letitia goes even as far as to say that she is actually the original reason that Luthor came to Metropolis in the first place. Lex had actually gifted his mother a small island so that she would stay the hell out of his business, but business, it seems, is the exact reason she's back right now. Apparently, the LexCorp board of directors hate the idea of him handing the company over to Superman, and as such, they've enlisted his mother to see how in his right mind he is. But wait, there's even more after that, because Letitia Luthor has also brought with her Lena Luthor. No, not Lex's sister, Lex's daughter, Lena Luthor, who's actually been crisised in and out of continuity a couple times, and yes, before you even have to ask, she was possessed by Brainiac once upon a time. That's why she has those 3 weird head marks. And hey, speaking of Brainiac, it's after that the book ends up pulling out once again into space, where we see Brainiac is still working on his master plan. Brainiac also reminisces about his long history with Superman in a wonderful little collage paying homage to multiple different eras in Superman stories, wherein Brainiac laments despite how powerful he was, how intelligent, he was never quite able to solve the riddle that is Earth. After all, Earth is a planet like so many out there in the vast universe, yet for some reason more super people, more metahumans are born there than anywhere else in the known universe. And because of that, Brainiac has decided to put his vast mind to try and solve this problem. He's pulled up to a planet that is not unlike Earth at all, despite the fact that there is only one amazing metahuman there. Someone who can control metal with their minds. Brainiac sends a force to destroy the planet, and it's here we end up meeting the Lost Zarnians. Brainiac's brand new attack dogs that come courtesy of the Bottle City of Zarnia. Their names are General Chatal, Duende, and Tiburon. Oh, get it, because Lobo means wolf. These guys' names are literally Jackal, Shark, and Goblin. Brainiac sends his forces to assail this planet, but he says that this is only one part of a much bigger game for him, one that ends with him learning how to create real, sentient life from scratch. And it's on that note right there the comic comes to an end, everybody. And so that was Superman issue number 7, everybody. A nice little anniversary issue that kind of felt like reading 3 issues of this series all in one, which is certainly not a bad thing. You got bang for your buck. I like Connor Kent getting a little bit of extra focus in this storyline. It feels like he has kind of fallen by the wayside in the last little bit, and it's nice to see that Joshua Williamson hasn't forgotten him and that we're going to see more focus on the super family outside of Action Comics, where that sort of thing is usually done. The Chain sure seems like an interesting new antagonist, especially considering his deeper connection to Luthor and Perry, though man, it sure does feel like all the big scary new Superman villains are telekinetic, right? What's up with that? Williamson was already having fun with the retcon Lex Luthor origin story, going back to the idea that he was from Smallville, but I had no idea just how big and sprawling the Luthor stuff was gonna be. And I gotta say, I like it. It's thematic. So much of this era of Superman has been about him dealing with his family, and now Luthor has a family too, and oh boy are they dysfunctional. And then of course we got all the Brainiac stuff, which seems more like a taste to tide us over for the next big Superman event, House of Brainiac, that will be coming soon, which, man, you know what, it's been a while since we've had a big Brainiac event. In fact, have we ever had a big Brainiac event? I don't know, but color me interested. Overall, I would give this one a much deserved 8.5 out of 10. Good stuff. Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow, and help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye bye.